Okay, everybody, I'm going to be showing you how to learn how to animate if you are bad at animating and drawing, which I am very bad at drawing. What does help though is to get a Wacom tablet or some sort of drawing tablet that you can draw on, and I will show you the difference. So first of all, let's just start off in Adobe Animate. I normally like to try with HD. It's just it doesn't take up too big of a file space when you're trying to export as a movie file, and it gives you enough space to work with. And just 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second, and that's pretty much as you're going to want for anything basic you're going to be trying to do. So I'll show you why it's better to have a Wacom tablet, because I'm bad. This is me. Write my name. That's me using this Wacom tablet that I can run around with, and it's a lot easier. And as bad as I am at drawing, this is even worse. So I'm going to try drawing the same thing with my trackpad, which I'm sure it'd be a little better with a mouse. But if you're trying to draw with a trackpad, I'm sure some people can, but it's just definitely a lot harder and a lot slower. So definitely first step would probably be to get some kind of drawing tablet, just to give yourself some kind of chance to draw something that someone is going to want to see. So what I'm going to show you today is how I make some sort of animations that are sometimes people, sometimes animals, background stuff, and doing this in a way that doesn't require a large amount of artistic ability. So let's try drawing something. So I'm gonna zoom out, and by the way I zoom out is I hold Command and I scroll back. This is on a MacBook, and so I hold Command and scrolling in and out because it's kind of difficult to use this. It's kind of annoying. So zooming in and out, I use hold Command and zoom or scroll up and down. So I'm going to get this to where, there, okay. So let's try to draw some kind of a landscape background. So I'm going to draw just like the ground, and it doesn't really matter what it looks like outside this white box, which is what your window is going to be. It just kind of is what we're working with. We're going to make our land space. So go to this color palette, choose a green of some sort, and then go to your paint bucket, and boom. And we got grass. Let's stay on the same layer. That way it is still. I don't have to draw another line behind it. And so this is connected to that. Let's find a blue we like for the sky, and oh, something's not connected somewhere. Oh, look at that. See, I went above the space that I was showing, so it didn't draw there. So you gotta make sure when you want to make a fill object, it has to be a complete line that has no gaps. And boom, there we go. Because that's always something I deal with. I'm glad that happened, because you'll want to fill something in and you'll be like, what's wrong? And you gotta make sure you look and there's no gaps anywhere in the fill. Like if you try to fill in this circle, nothing's gonna nothing's gonna happen, or it's gonna fill in the rest of this object instead of, it's gonna think that you're trying to fill in this object. But if you fill in the rest of this, it's gonna be a filled object. So let's delete that. Another good trick to have is I have my command keys set for similar to Photoshop and Premiere Pro, because I have a lot of experience in. So I have D set for default. I think that was automatically the keyboard shortcut. Default color styles, color swatches, and then X is to swap them. So you can see right here they're being swapped by pressing X. And one thing I will show you guys that is handy to be able to set your own shortcuts and not have to, and make everything a lot faster, is you go up to this command window, go to keyboard shortcuts, and it'll pop up in this window. So I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So let's say we want to do a frame. So, or even just like, let's say, okay, let's just make it simple. Insert frame. So in here, you can go in, let's delete this just for example. So you click on this, insert frame, it'll already have some kind of a shortcut. I like mine as F just for frame. Sometimes I'll accidentally add frames and it can get annoying, but I like having F and easy keyboard because I find myself adding and inserting frames frequently in this process of animating. And then I have insert keyframe as C, that's just something I picked. So it's nice when you find yourself using a lot of similar actions and repeated steps. It is good to just have keyboard shortcuts that you're familiar with and make them on your own, and that'll save you a lot of time and headache. So let's try animating something. So I'm going to do just a person that we are going to be able to animate and move the arms and legs. I'm not going to do anything crazy, so this is our background layer, so let's name it. It's always really good to name your layers, otherwise it's going to get really messy in here and you'll get confused. And we can even lock this. So locking this makes sure that you can't, when you're on it, you won't be able to do anything on it and let that like a warning window, and you won't be able to move it. Because normally you'd be able to move it. Let's see if I unlock this. Can move this, but if it's locked, I'm not going to accidentally move stuff around. So if you know you're not going to be moving your background around, you can lock it. So I've made a new layer with this new layer button, and I'm going to expand these. I'm going to expand the timeline here, and this one took me a while to figure out when I first started doing this. This scroll thing over, you gotta sometimes, if you're on a small screen, you gotta move this over, and you can expand the frames out like this, and that'll make them bigger. So now we're only seeing like 15, but if you default it, it shows like 90 or something. So let's make these bigger. Okay, and let's draw a really crappy looking person because I'm just not good at drawing. So let's say, let's do someone with just kind of wearing a big t-shirt. So that's what I kind of like to draw, and even that is too bad for me. He's wearing a big t-shirt, and luckily the brush tool kind of smoothens things out, and you can adjust those settings too in the tool. Smoothing, I have my smoothing set to 100 because of how bad I am at drawing. It kind of just like makes things look a little bit cleaner and a lot smoother, obviously, with smoothing. So like, see what I drew there. Let's take this down to 0. If I drew something similar, it's gonna still stay bad. It looks how rough that is compared to this one. But then if you draw something like this, if you do smoothing all the way up, it kind of like smoothing things out. It looks a lot nicer, and actually it looks like you can draw something. Okay. This tool window while we're here, this is a handy thing to have. You can adjust your size, you can adjust the fill here, you can adjust your opacity. There's a bunch of different tools here you can mess around with: object drawing mode, brush mode, style, and yeah, I'll get into that in probably a different video. So let's get back to our little person. So what I've done here is, this is just like the base torso of the person I want to draw. So what I'm going to do with this, first let's name this. Let's name him Buddy. And let's double click. Oh crap, I don't want this in here. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Okay, so undo is your best friend, Buddy. So let's take this layer that we've drawn. I named it Buddy just to be our little person we're going to draw. And I'm going to right click on it, and let's do convert to symbol, and we'll name this the same thing, Buddy. So now this is a symbol. So this symbol is able to have frames within itself, and you're able to mess with it inside itself and not worry about it having all these frames on the, on, the actual timeline. So let's double click on that, and it goes into scene 1 buddy. This is the object that we're in right now. And you can see that we're in this is the object we're in, and if we go back, we'll be back in the main scene. So let's go back. And so this has layers within the object. So let's name this torso. Crap. Torso. It's always going to name stuff. And let's fill in the torso. You gotta make sure you're not highlighted it, or it's going to try to color the line. So give him a blue shirt. And zoom in a little on him. So this is going to be just his whole body, because I'm, again, bad at drawing. So we're going to do each of his limbs on a different layer. So let's add a couple layers here. Let's do left foot. So let's do the torso. We're going to move the torso to the top, so that way everything else is underneath it, although we might have to change that later. So let's go to left foot. And I always do my perspective. I know this is his right foot, but that's confusing. So make sure you close this, and you can, that way you can fill it in. And so I'm gonna choose this like tan white person looking shit. And so we have a left foot. And then let's name this one R foot for right foot. And so what you can do, I am really bad at replicating things I've just drawn, and I think that looks like a good foot. And so I am going to take left foot and then Command C, or you can right click on it. Where's my button on my pen? Here we go. Or you can right click on it, copy. It also says Command C on here. It shows you some different keyboard shortcuts. And then I'm going to go to this layer and Command V. So we got his right foot here, and so this is kind of a matter of opinion. I'm going to have his, or just whatever you want. So I'm going to right click on this, make sure you are in the right foot layer, and I'm going to transform it, flip horizontal, and boom, you got a left foot and a right foot. Look at that, and you can highlight them by clicking on them. So we got the feet. Now let's do some arms, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to do arms. And you can either, I mean, there's a lot of ways. This is just more like an artistic style, and honestly I'm going to make this torso a little smaller just to, that he's not so robust. And you can just do that by clicking on the torso, and if you click on the layer, it'll highlight everything in the layer. And then you can go to this transform tool and slide this back and forth how you want. And if you want to just do like the width, you can unlink these, and boom, you got a lift, you got a big old fat boy, and then you got a little skinny boy. But I'm gonna make him proportional with how I've drawn him, relink it, and if I want to make him taller, you can do that. So I'm gonna relink this. Okay, so now the height and width are linked. Okay, so let's do the arms. So I'm just gonna do the arms really simple. So let's name this left arm. Gotta make this. So let's do the torso underneath the arms, so the arms are showing. You can see how many times it takes me to draw and redraw things, so don't feel bad. And I just drew this in the wrong layer. So let's name this left arm underscore and name this R arm. See, this is an everyman's tutorial. I know you guys are struggling with drawing stuff just like me, and that's why you clicked on this. And so it's okay. Messing up is part of it, and learning. Crappers. Okay, so we got this left arm. I'm gonna make sure you click on the layer, and I'm gonna boom. So now, look at this. This is super easy. You got the sleeve inside here. The arm is just showing its little hand. No one cares about hands. No, hands were hard. This is his little arm and hand, and it's cute. Okay, deal with it. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm lazy and I don't want to draw another one that's going to look different, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the hands. So I'm going to copy it, Command C, click on the right arm or arm layer, paste it, move it over here, transform, flip, horizontal. Okay. So now we've got, boom, person, arms and legs. And they're a little disproportional. We can fix that later. So now let's do the head. Head. So let's zoom in a little. I'm going to just draw a head. Nope, that's bad. And the thicker your outline is, the better you are. It's like the easier it is going to be to make it look cleaner, just because it's just how it is. So I'm going to draw that, get a sample from this so we don't have to go to the color swatches every time. Get the same color. Boom, I've got a head. So I like to do all my head features, all the face features on different layers. So let's do the hair. What kind of hairstyle we're going to give them? Let's see. Let's give them kind of a mullet. I think mullets are fun. So we're going to do that. Actually, so let's keep it simple. Well, actually, no, I want to do the mullet. Let's do the mullet. So I'll show you. So I'm going to do the front hair, business in the front, and I got to make sure you close it off because it's on a different layer. And then, so you can either do a different layer for the back hair or just like draw it. I'm gonna do the same layer. Draw it behind him. So I'm gonna have it come around here. Maybe give a little bit of a scruff of it. Oh, but then so then you gotta close it in. Close it in. Make sure you're closing in your drawings. Okay, so now we got the hair. And it looks like it's all closed in. Let's make him, no. See, that's what happens when you keep it selected. Boom. So we're still on the hair, no. And let's give him just some brown hair. And I don't even know if that's brown. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm a little colorblind too. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of definition in the hair, kind of add some strokes here to make it look like it's actual hair. And you can come back here, erase this a little bit. And see, what's good about having multiple layers is I don't have to worry about erasing the head. Like if you're erasing on the hair layer, it's not gonna erase the head. Cool. All right, so we got the hair, face, and this is, you can do eyes and everything. You can do it all in one layer, or you can kind of mess around with it. And boom, I'm gonna do my style of eyes. No. Actually, so I'm gonna do the eyes, and then I'm gonna do the pupils on a different layer, because then you can move the pupils around and it's not gonna be erasing what's behind it. So the pupils on one layer, kind of, well, you want to make them like the same position relative to their eyeball. So now, when I have the pupils selected, I can move them. Oh, look, it's looking over there, it's looking over there, over here, all around, and it's not going to affect the eyeball layer. Okay, nose, boom, and mouth. And mouth, if you want to go and look at my tutorial for how to do lip syncing, you can go and look at that. It's really helpful to learn how to lip sync, because right now I'm just going to do a stagnant mouth. And let's give him some big ol' ass teeth. No, what is that? I don't know why it does that. I think my brush setting is off or something. He's cheesing. Okay, so now we have this goofy ass looking dude. But I'm not here to show you how to draw well, I'm here to show you how to animate easily. Okay, so we've got our dude here, and let's make this guy all linked together, and so that way when we move his torso, everything else, the face, body, arms, all moves with it. So what that's going to take is turning everything, all these layers, into shapes. So let's do that one at a time. So go right click on the layer, convert the layers to symbol, and just name it the same thing, mouth. And I like to keep it as a graphic. So I'm going to do that all real quick. So now I have all these as different as their own objects. So if we can go into the library, you can see all of these are their own objects. So let's talk about parenting. So parenting is when I'm linking different objects to other objects. So I'm going to link the feet to the torso. So that now if I move the torso, the feet are linked and they're moving with them, but everything else is not linked, so obviously it's not moving. So I'm going to link arm to the torso, and then I'm going to do head to the torso. So the arm, so now we've got all of this linked. So, and you can, if you wanted to, you could even link all these face parts to the torso, but I'm going to link them all to the head. That way if the head wants to move by itself, it can. I'm going to link the pupils to the eyes, the nose to the head, the mouth to the head. So now, if I'm moving the torso, everything is moving, and that makes everything a lot easier to manipulate when you're trying to do different types of movements with this object. So now we've got that. What do we want to do with it? Let's have him wave his arms and kick his legs a little bit, and maybe we can have him jump up in the air. So we have all these. Let's create a new, let's click on all of these and create new keyframe for all of them. And we can do that by clicking on this next frame, insert keyframe. And so if you click the top of it, it'll highlight the entire column, and then you can just add a new keyframe. So now we have the second keyframe. So this first keyframe is the first frame. This next one is what's the next one that's going to happen. So let's move the arms. So I'm going to click on the arm. I'm going to click Q, which is how you transform it. And I'm going to change this little dot up here so that way it kind of pivots on that point. So you see that? It pivots on that point. You can rotate it around. So I'm going to rotate it over here. I'm going to move, I'm going to move it in so that way it doesn't show the outside. So now let's go from this frame to this frame. His hands up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So let's do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go, oops, I didn't move this. It was rotating around the center. So let's rotate it this way. I'm going to move it in a bit so that way it doesn't show the transparent arm, because that would be so embarrassing. And so now up, 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 and he's moving. And he's cheesing, he's having a good time. So let's do the same thing with the feet. Let's click on the feet, Q, I'm going to attach them right here. I'm going to kick out a little bit. Oh wait, sorry, I'm on the wrong frame. Look at that. I'm going to have him kick out a little bit. Click on this one. For some reason, there must be something else I've drawn. Oh, there's another foot. That's funny. I'm going to go inside this layer. I'm going to go inside this object, and I'm going to erase this foot extra foot that somehow got put in there. So you saw that I'm inside an object inside an object. So if I click on this, I'm inside our foot, which is inside our body, which is inside the scene 1. So he's gonna kick out just a little bit. Boom, up, down, and obviously you can do you can make these smaller movements. You can do just have him go in between, but this is just for very simple animating. And so now we have him jumping up like this, putting his hands up and putting him down. So let's go out of the object now that we have this. So let's just, I'm pressing F a bunch of times, I'm adding a bunch of, so right now it's having him spazzing out like that. And so there's 2 options we can do. So we can either, first, we can go to the properties object, and this is a looping. So right now it's looping, it's set for, it's doing those 2 layers. So the frames, the 2 frames it has on this object is him down and him up. And so right now it is looping those 2 frames. And so what we can do is just do single frame. So now he's stuck like that. And he's not gonna move. And so what we can do is let's say every 5, I'm gonna do C, which is or you can click this for insert keyframe. And then I'm gonna go to frame picker and go down. And then I'm gonna take these, hold onto this, hold down to Alt, and then move them over here. So now we've got boom, 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 boom. And that's just him going up and down. Or what we can do, so I'm gonna undo all that. So we can go into the object and add space in between these. I did this by adding frames, which you can do by inserting, you can just insert frames in between here and after here. So now it's up like that. So now you can see there's a bunch more frames. So you go to object, and now you go back to looping. And so even though we only have 1 keyframe here, it's going to be looping that sequence that we have made inside of the symbol, which I think is a lot easier. It depends on what you're trying to do. So now let's have him jump. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's have him jump. So right there is where he jumps up in the air. So I'm going to click C, or you can click on this, insert keyframe, and move him up. And then he's going down. He's going down. And then so he's up. Sorry, I messed that up. So he's up. And then we go over here, and now his arms are down. It's going down. And I'm going to click an insert keyframe. It's going back down. And if you wanted to, you can do onion skins, which will show, you can expand this, and it'll show the layers in between. So let's see what that looks like. Let's delete these. That way it's just going to loop. And you can show, you can test your movie by up here on the right, test movie. So look at that. Now he's a jumping little lad, but as you can see, it's pretty skippy. Like it's got like gaps in between it. So let's fix that. So let's undo everything. Start from scratch. Okay, so we just have him going back and forth because he's looping inside the object. So what we can do is right click on the frame, create classic tween. I'm going to turn off onion skins. So now if I move him anywhere, it's going to tween in between that's what it's called, in between. It's going to fill in the frames in between, so it's moving slowly between where I moved it and where it is I started. Let me zoom out. So now he's jumping, and it's not so laggy like it was before. So he's up, and then I'm going to have him come down. So let's see what that looks like. So now he's jumping up and down. It's a lot more fluid. And you know what? That's a good stopping point. I think that's a good place for everyone to get a good grip on everything. So let's try to export this video. So what I want to do, my end game is exporting it to Premiere Pro so I can edit it and use it for a video. So I'm going to go export video media. I'm going to ignore stage color, because just in case I didn't have a background, I just had a white background, it would just be it would be a transparent background. Entire movie, and I'm going to do this to QuickTime, and it'll be default. So this is going to give you an MOV file, and I'm going to name this test, sure, export. And there we go. I think that should have done it. So let's... It was just quick. Okay, so let's open up Premiere, new project, test. And let's import into here. Why is it not selecting it? So let's import, right click on here. I'm gonna go so it's an MOV file, and we can drop it into our timeline, and look at that. Wow, we've made our own animation, but obviously it's only gonna play once because it's not going to be looping like it does in Adobe Animate. So let's review. So we drew it, made them into symbols, linked them all, edited the symbols inside the symbol, and then created a tween and exported it. Yeah, so I mean, this is a bad tutorial, I know, but I just wanted to like give a really simple, like basic, beginner bad drawing tutorial for people who are bad at drawing. And for people like me, when I first started, I was watching all these people just impressively make all these drawings. I was like, well, I'm never gonna do that, and they were kind of over my head with some stuff. But this kind of just gets to the point of what people want to do if they want to just like start drawing and start animating right away. And that's basically it. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Subscribe or whatever, like it, or I don't know. Just if you watched it, that's fine. Alright, have a good one, guys. Good luck creating. And if you create anything, send it to me, and I'd love to see it. It's always fun to see people's first animations and see how they progress. So send something my way, or just message me on Instagram or something. I don't know.